The strangest true crime mysteries have unbelievable endings that are quite unexpected by most. Solved or unsolved, these cases feature strange but true stories of real crimes with police investigations that continue for years or even decades. Number 5. 24-year-old Nova Welsh, mother of 2, resided in Lighthorn Avenue, Birmingham, England. Nova had recently split up with her husband. When she stopped answering the phone to her friends and family in Jamaica and the US, it was the beginning of a true crime mystery. Over 30 years later, her case would be solved and reach an unbelievable ending. Nova Welsh was last seen by neighbors on July 26, 1981 at her home. West Midlands police learned that Nova returned home from a night of dancing with her boyfriend, Wayne Newby. She was crying, but after this, Nova Welsh disappeared into thin air. Her friends and family contacted West Midlands police with a criminal suspect in mind, her estranged husband Osmond Bell. As the true crime story goes, Bell told police that he had no idea where Nova was, and that he was looking after their children on the night that she went missing. Detectives found it unusual that he seemed rather unbothered upon learning that his estranged wife had mysteriously disappeared. Just weeks after the woman was reported missing, her body was discovered in the building where she lived. There was little crime scene evidence aside from the blanket she had been wrapped in, and a piece of chewing gum that had been used to jam the door shut. The West Midlands police would later receive an anonymous letter claiming that Osmond and Nova were fighting on the night that she disappeared. The circumstantial evidence was not enough to secure a conviction against Osmond, and the case went cold for decades until 2016, when Nova's case was revisited using the latest forensic techniques. A DNA analysis of the chewing gum found on the door where Nova's body was found was a match to none other than Osmond Bell. With this discovery, Osmond was arrested and charged, solving a cold case that had gone unsolved for more than 3 decades. Osmond Bell was given 12 years in prison for his crimes. Although Nova's family and friends do not believe that his punishment reflects the seriousness of the crime, they hope to find closure and move on. Number 4. On March 23, 2007, a land surveyor made a truly horrifying discovery in a wooded area of Fort Myers, Florida, in the form of partial human remains. Crime investigators soon turned up the missing bodies of 8 others. The unidentified John Does were known as the Fort Myers 8. Investigators encouraged any family member of a missing person to submit a DNA test to see if there was a forensic match. They were able to solve 3 missing John Doe cases in this way: Eric Kohler, John Blevins, and Jonathan T.A. The Fort Myers Police Department and state authorities reached out to Parabon Nanolabs to assist law enforcement agencies in conducting forensic DNA analysis for the remaining bodies. Using forensic genetic genealogy, they were able to create a family tree using a DNA sample from one of the men. Genealogists spent hundreds of hours poring over records and contacting family members until they matched with 30-year-old Robert Sodden of Lee County, Southwest Florida. In September of 2022, the Fort Myers Police Department identified this man as Robert Bobby Sodden. His case could be the latest clue behind the horrifying history of a notorious individual named Daniel Conahan, who was already in prison for kidnapping and taking the life of another man. From 1994 to 1997, Daniel would allegedly lure men into the woods to their demise. If the allegations in these crime stories are true, then some of the men escaped while others did not survive. Trace fibers on one of the bodies matched the fabric materials found in Daniel's car interior and bedroom, though he's never made a criminal confession regarding their unsolved case, even after being sentenced to capital punishment. Number 3. John and his partner Jillian had gone on a last-minute holiday to the Greek island of Zante in June of 2019. John, physically fit for a 73-year-old, wanted to hike up Mount Skopos to view the ruins of an old monastery. John left Jillian by the pool, taking with him his water bottle and €10 in cash. When he was reported missing, Greek authorities looked at security cameras from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. It was only after the rest of his family joined the search from Wales that investigators began looking more closely at the evidence. John was caught on camera at 9:40 a.m. on the day of his strange disappearance, walking past a restaurant, bottle in hand. A forensic examination of the footage told investigators which direction John had approached the mountain from, and they began to plot a search route. They were unable to locate him with dogs and a helicopter, but off the mountain, there were a few more clues. There was a sighting confirmed to be John at a cafe close to the village of Argasi at around 3 p.m. that afternoon. Later, a Greek true crime television show covered John's disappearance, and a caller claimed to have seen a missing man returning from his hike. It seems pretty certain that John successfully scaled Mount Skopos and back, but what happened after that is unknown. With a limited amount of searches available, it's possible later footage of John was unknowingly wiped, or else the strange mystery occurred in a low population area with very few cameras. John's family feared that foul play by an unknown criminal party might be responsible for his strange and unsolved disappearance. Anybody with information is asked to contact the British Embassy at 0207 008 1500. Number 2. On May 10, 1987, officers walking close to the McIntyre Air Base in Hopkins, South Carolina, made a shocking discovery: the body of a woman who had been left out in the open by her attacker. The mystery woman was later identified as 34-year-old Patricia Ann Green. It was a shocking case that would take 30 years to reach an unbelievable conclusion. The Richland County Sheriff's Department worked hard with the crime scene evidence they had, but with limited DNA technology, authorities were unable to find the criminal responsible. In the 1990s, the Richland County Sheriff's Department opened a task force dedicated to seeing their most mysterious unsolved cases get solved. A DNA sample was sent to the FBI labs for analysis, but no match was found. Over the years, case detectives continued to submit evidence for testing. They eventually solved the case much later in 2017, when DNA matched to 53-year-old Philip Johnson, already in prison on unrelated charges. When questioned, he made a shocking criminal confession to everything. The criminal motive behind this act was simple malice. He was out to end lives, and she was at the receiving end of a random horror story come to life. This dark and disturbing confession, along with the DNA evidence, helped the Richland County Sheriff's Department to secure a conviction against Johnson, who will now spend the rest of his life behind bars. Number 1. On August 7th of 2022, a 22-year-old woman named Julissa Fuentes was spotted on CCTV at a gas station near to her home in Selma, California. Detectives believe a criminal could be responsible for Julissa's unsolved disappearance. Julissa vanished in the early hours of the morning on August 7th. She had spent the night at a family party and left at around 3:30 a.m. Not long after, Julissa arrived at the home that she shared with her grandmother and brother. Her brother was still awake when she returned and watched his sister go to grab a bag before she left again. She said she was getting snacks. Julissa left in her 2011 Hyundai and did not return. The family raised the alarm just hours after Julissa was last seen, but police investigators wanted to let more time pass before investigating. At 22 years old, Julissa was a legal adult, free to go missing if she chose. There were some strange clues to suggest Julissa hadn't vanished all by herself. At 3:59 a.m., Julissa tried to call her sister. Then at 5:26 a.m., Julissa tried twice to video call her sister using FaceTime. Her sister would usually be awake at this time, not going to bed until around 6 a.m. But that night, she was already asleep. Under normal circumstances, Julissa's sister would just assume that she was bored and wanted to chat, but now the family was worried this might have been a call for help. Julissa was last seen an hour and a half before these two mysterious calls. She went to an AM/PM gas station just outside the city of Selma. CCTV footage was later released, which showed Jalissa paying for some snacks and getting back inside her car. Another customer is seen leaving the store just before Jalissa, but they return in opposite directions. Jalissa is alone as she gets into the car. It wasn't uncommon for Jalissa to go walking in the area to try to clear her head, especially after the recent passing of a friend. Jalissa's phone last pinged in an area near Pine Flat Lake and Avocado Lake. There was a fear that she might have planned to go on one of these walks that night and accidentally ended up in the lake. Her car is also missing. The volunteer dive team Adventures with Purpose searched the lakes, but they were unable to solve the strange mystery of Jalissa. Her family has always believed that someone took their loved one from them. Now police are treating the case as a criminal matter. Multiple other agencies have gotten involved, including the FBI, but thus far no leads have led to Jalissa, her car, or any of her missing belongings ever being found. Jalissa is described as 5 foot 3 inches tall, weighing 220 pounds. She has straight brown hair and brown eyes. Her car was a gray 2011 Hyundai Accent. A $15,000 reward for information has been announced, and anyone with information on her unsolved case is asked to contact Detective Richard Figueroa at 559-891-2243. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.